I guess we all have a story. Over the years I've been told that my life has been very traumatic, and looking back today and on reflection of it, I guess I would have to say I agree. And I guess for me to just sort of try and share a little bit of how I ended up maybe making a decision to go and work in the sex industry was more about how I saw life as a child and the type of life that I lived in. So in order for me to just moving into working in a brothel, I was raised in a family, that was just, without going into too much detail, it just wasn't pleasant. It was really, there was a lot of physical abuse, a lot of verbal abuse, there was sexual abuse. That was just life for me at that time. And I guess I made decisions to go into a brothel because it never occurred to me to make another decision. I needed to work when I was about 23. I found myself in a situation where I was a young mum with a 1-year-old daughter, and I was 22, nearly 23, and I needed to find some money to support her. And the only thing I knew to do was to go to a brothel and knock on the door and get a job. And the reason I think I made that decision at the time was mainly because from the time I was very, very small, the only things my father ever said to me was, you're nothing but trash. You're just a black whore, just like your mother. And you're only good for 2 things, beating and sex. So over the years, I managed to find people that helped me feel that way. And there were a couple of people, as I moved from situation to situation, that tried to treat me kindly, but it was so foreign to me that I couldn't be there. I had to leave, I had to escape, because the whole of my life was just about surviving. So when it came to that point, I simply went to a brothel. I asked for a job. I got seen by the owner, who very kindly introduced me to his wife on the desk and took me into his office and had sex with me. Of course I got the job, and I began. And then I can remember thinking as I sat in that office, once he'd finished, Dad must have been right. And then I guess it just went from there. You see pornographic movies, or you see movies about what people think it looks like in a brothel, but you know what, it's not. And I saw many women, young, old, come in, and even a few of them came in with the idea, let's just make money, this is going to be easy, we can do this, and it's all about the money, it's exciting. And you know what, over time, in a very short space of time, you could see in the way they carried themselves and the way they spoke. Maybe they drank a little bit more, maybe they started taking drugs where they weren't taking drugs, but it changed them. It changes you. If someone was to ask me 40 years ago, 20 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago, do I have a dream? My dream, I would have been able to answer and say, not to wake up tomorrow. But if someone was to ask me today, my dream would be that if I could take one moment of my life and share it with one of those women that are at a place where they are making a decision based on their traumatic life, and I could speak into their heart and say, hey, there is another way, and you have value, and you are worthwhile, and offer them that, then that would be awesome. Having an organisation like Streets of Freedom in those places, it will make such a difference to the women in that industry. No one ever came up to me. No one ever said anything to me. No one ever offered me support. No one ever wanted to impart into my life, show me love and care, and just an opportunity that I could make a different choice. And I just really believe that maybe if just for a moment someone had come through my life a little bit earlier, it's like, because you would never imagine that you're worth anything, it's not a natural thought that there is any hope. But when you sit with people, with these women that are from Streets of Freedom, and they open their hearts and they love you, and you can see there's genuine acceptance. There's no judgment there. There's just a genuine, sincere desire to help you come out and to be free from that place of darkness and destruction, because that at the end of the day is all it is. It's soul destroying. And through the support of an organisation like Streets of Freedom that offers all the things, to the possibility of being trained, the possibility of looking at employment, somewhere to live, support while they go through their stuff, that is the absolute key to enable them to step out into a place of freedom, but to empower them to make different choices, to break the cycle. Even for some of them it could be, that's all they've ever known in their lives. So to be able to actually step out, to be made whole, but to have that on offer, I think is one of the most important things that these women could have, because they will go away, they will think about it, and in that moment, when they have that moment, and every one of them will have it, where it's absolutely unbearable, they will be able to remember those women, and hopefully they will be able to go back and make a connection, and that can make a difference for them. Let's enable them to step out and be free. Streets of Freedom is an absolutely awesome organisation, and these women are truly amazing.